So me and my two friends, all 33F, have been a trio since middle school. Ironically, all three of our oldest children have the same exact birthday, but different years. Me and Tonya have boys aged 8 and 10. Lauren has a 2-year-old daughter. A few months ago, Tonya and I decided to plan a bowling laser tag birthday party for our boys. We told Lauren about the party and invited her. She said she would try to make it. Cool. The party was on a weekend. Not the day of their actual birthday, a few days before the party. Lauren FaceTimed Tonya and I to invite us to her daughter's birthday party. It was for the same day as our boys' party. No big deal. It's the weekend after their birthdays. So we knew the parties would eventually clash. We told her we wouldn't be able to make it, and we thought was that the day after the party. Tonya and I FaceTimed Lauren to ask how her daughter's party went. We saw pictures online and thought the decorations came out beautifully. We were all ears, just waiting on the details of baby girl's second birthday. Instead, we were met with anger. Lauren starts asking why we didn't show up. We were at our boys' party and she knew this. She then tells us we were supposed to cancel their party and come to her daughter's. When I asked her why she would think we would even consider doing that, she said a second birthday party was more important than 8 and 10, and we should have just picked a different day. I'm not one to argue, so I tell Lauren she's tripping and hang up the video call. The next day, I noticed she logged me out and changed the password to a streaming account we shared. Is it that serious? I guessed to her it was. I haven't talked to Lauren since.
She kept stealing my skincare, so I let her glow up the hard way. Sister-in-law was staying with us for a bit and decided my bathroom was her personal Sephora. Every morning, I'd notice my skincare products getting lighter, but she'd always deny using them like I'm blind and dumb. So I swapped out the label on a nearly serum bottle with a similar looking one I use for my keratosis. Super strong, smells fine, burns like hell if misused. Next morning, she's blotchy, orange tinted, and low-key panicking in the mirror. I hit her with the innocent, "Oh no, did you try something new?" She said, "What? No, I mean, I might have used that a little bottle, but I thought it was like, for everyone." The nervous laugh, and, "Oh, yeah, no, that's prescription. Definitely not a for everyone kind of thing. Maybe next time just ask," I says. Then I walked out and let her sit with that. After that, she never touched my stuff again and suddenly respects the concept of personal property.
Basically, I have a daughter, Emily, 16F, from a previous marriage. My wife, Sasha, has a son the same age, Mark, 16M. Mark doesn't stay with us that often. He prefers to stay with his bio dad. That being said, when he is here, I find Mark to be a pretty good kid, polite and respectful. His dad decided to take a trip for work in the last few weeks of school, so Mark's here for a bit. He's out of the house most of the time and doesn't take up much space. He does get kind of grumpy when there's too much going on around him, especially noise, but for that, his favorite thing are these expensive noise-canceling headphones which he almost always has with him. A present from his dad. Emily's school has already finished, so she's home. The problem is that the room Mark is sometimes has miscellaneous items put in when he's not here, and therefore Emily seems to think it's fair game to go through his stuff. I've told her to stop, but Sasha hasn't been taking it seriously, saying that most of Mark's stuff is easy to replace. The big problem happened when Mark accidentally left his headphones in his room, and Emily accidentally snapped them. Mark found out when he came home from school and flipped. He shouted at her, saying she was spoilt without anything to back it up, loud enough that my wife and I heard it from the other room. Sasha wanted me to calm things down, which I did, but I also told Emily she's replacing them. Thing is, Mark's dad offered have someone get him a new pair immediately, and that it wasn't a problem. I said Emily would pay him back, and I'm sticking with it. Emily and Sasha think that's unfair since Mark's dad can afford to buy 10 more. But I don't think you get to break someone's stuff and not pay for it. Those aren't the values I was raised with or what I want for my daughter. That being said, I do realize in this case it's kind of unnecessary and there may be better ways for her to make it up to him. AITA.
I 16 meters got so sick of the lunches at school in the last year. They're trash and nothing ever tastes good. Nothing's all that healthy either. So back in December, I decided that after Christmas, I'd make my own packed lunch in the mornings. My parents were cool with it at first and my dad thought it was good for me because he and mom only have basic cooking and meal prep skills. So he was happy to see someone in the household do stuff. I ended up with a really nice rotation of lunches. In April, my mom told me I should make lunch for my siblings 14, 13, and 11 too. I told her that was not happening and she should encourage them to make their own if they want something else. Mom told me it wasn't a big ask and my siblings deserved better food too. I told her they deserve better from her then, but not me. The reason I was so against this is my siblings have no boundaries where I'm concerned. They think they can take my stuff, come into my room without knocking or asking. They can demand I walk them to friends' houses when mom and dad are busy, and so many other annoying things. It's not like the worst thing ever, but it means I don't want to do stuff for them. My dad acknowledges and works on this stuff with my siblings, and he's punished them for taking stuff from me before. But my mom always dismisses it as oldest kid problems. She's the youngest in her family. Me and mom argued about it for weeks. Dad told her to stop putting it on me and he pointed out, my siblings don't complain about the lunches. Mom said it wasn't even the point, and she was mad Dad didn't back her up, but also that I was digging in my heels so much and wouldn't listen to her as my mom. She said it was a respect thing. Dad got mom to back off for maybe 2 weeks, but once school was out for summer, she was telling me starting when school returns in August, I better be prepared to make lunch for everyone. I told her it wasn't happening and she needed to accept it. She told me I couldn't use food purchased for the household if I'm going to be this selfish. I told her that was fine. I just won't make my lunch anymore and I'll go back to trash my school serves. Mom expected me to give in and make lunch for everyone and she called me a spoiled child for going this far with it. I told her I didn't care and she was not making me give in. Dad told me I could carry on making my lunches, but it led to another fight between him and mom saying I was behaving like a selfish brat and they raised me better than that. Waiter?
A few years ago, my wife and I finally scraped together enough money to renovate the kitchen and bathroom in our first flat. It wasn't a small spend. We'd been saving for months. I wanted to hire an independent builder, someone with no emotional strings attached. But my wife insisted we use her brother-in-law's building company. He'll do a good job, and it keeps it in the family. She said that I caved. Mistake number one the first few days. Everything was ripped out, kitchen gone, bathroom gone. We're basically camping in our own home. Then, out of nowhere, her brother-in-law disappears. Just ghosted us. No replies to messages, no updates, nothing. A few days later, we find out he'd gone on holiday. For 2 weeks. Without a single word of warning. So now our flat is unlivable. No kitchen, no bathroom. We had to couch surf with friends for almost 2 weeks. Awesome. When he finally returns, the work resumes, but barely. He's showing up for maybe an hour or 2 a day, clearly juggling other jobs. We're about 5 weeks into a 2 to 3 week max job, and barely any progress has been made. The place still looks like a bomb site. Now, here's the petty part. We had this freestanding IKEA butcher's block in the kitchen. Nothing fancy, but a decent solid wood surface I had used for years. He'd asked me if he could have it once the new kitchen went in, since it wouldn't be needed anymore. I said sure, figuring the work would be done soon, and we'd be rid of it anyway. Well, I came home one day to see the butcher's block had been perfectly sanded down, oiled, polished. It looked brand new. He had clearly spent days working on this thing. Meanwhile, my kitchen was still a gutted shell. The bathroom half installed. I snapped it. I dragged the thing outside, took a hammer to it, and smashed it to bits. Straight into the wheelie bin. The next day he came in and noticed. Didn't say a word, just looked kind of confused and disappointed. I didn't say a word either. The job took another 4 weeks to finish, Learn not to use family in the future for stuff like this, and glad he didn't get the new butcher's block. We have never spoken about the butcher's block since.
I, 18F, snapped at my mother today after she made a comment about what happened when my brain was swollen. For context, around 2020-ish. When I was 14, I had a sinus infection go to my brain after my sinuses filled up. I was sick for around 2 weeks and begged my mom to take me to the ER. She would tell me that if I went I would need to get shots in my butt. I wasn't scared of needles, however I was majorly self-conscious as every teen is, so I would go home and used remedies like the Netapot and vapor spray. It got to the point where I couldn't hold anything in. Eventually she took me to the hospital while I was out of it, like blank stares and not responding, and they told Mealy Mom I was dehydrated and wasn't taking my meds properly and sent me out. I peed my pants on the way out, and after cleaning me up I had seizure-like activity, as the doctors call it, and Mom took me to a different ER which sent me to a bigger hospital. After a couple months I got out of the hospital, and am now doing fine besides mild migraines, but the doctors said that if I waited for another day I would be dead or brain dead, and my life would be over. Now my mom talks about this but bends the truth. She says I was just acting depressed, that I never asked to go to the hospital, and makes sure to tell them that I wet myself in public. This would happen many, many times, and this recent time she mentions it I finally said something about her refusing to take me to the doctor in the first place despite me being clearly physically unwell. I would also mention the fact that she admitted she knew I had a sinus infection to the doctors. After the people she was talking to left, she snapped at me saying that I don't understand how hard the ordeal was for her, and that I make her sound like a horrible parent. Leave it to you, Reddit. Was I a ignorant brat when I brought up what I did, or was my anger justified as it made me feel embarrassed every time she'd talk about it? Edit. Thank you all for the support. I was raised by her, so she kinda knows how to control me in sorts. I really appreciate all the kind words and validation. Edit 2. If anyone needs proof / wants to see some weird / cool scars, I put it in the Scars Sunreddit link.
I recently had a baby, and after 2 weeks I felt well enough to see people, so my 2 friends, who already have children, came over. We were all chatting when one of them asked, "Is my partner good with the baby?" And I was saying that he's absolutely great when he finishes work for the day. He's straight on dad duties and happy to do so, of course, so I can go shower and sort myself out and stuff, and that he's just really good in general when I need him, and that he's great with our baby. Other friends said, "Does he get up to do the night feeds, changes and stuff?" So I said no. Why would I disturb his sleep in the middle of the night? That's my job and I'm happy to do it. And they both kinda looked at me like I was a psychopath. We got into a debate where they were saying he should be getting up and doing night responsibilities just as much as I am. I'm not working, so I can sleep whenever, during the day or the night while baby is settled. Sure, I'm tired, but that comes with motherhood. I explained to them my partner works. He's the provider for this family. At night I let him sleep because he has work the next day. I do not and can sleep. He can be fresh for work and provide for us. This is not something he has said BTW. This is my choice and what I wanted to do, and I'm happy with that and what he does for me. He does a lot for me, and I appreciate him. I don't need him to get up in the night with baby at this point. Plus, he can't feed our baby anyway because I'm breastfeeding and don't pump. Baby gets their food from the source. They kept going on about it to a point where I had to tell them to shh and mind their own, because this was our setup, and it works for us. Witta. The last straw is when my son had a meltdown and he marched into his room. I said I was going to go talk to him, but she stopped me and said, "No, don't. He needs to calm down." My wife and I exploded at the same exact moment, telling her to stop telling us what to do and how to do it. She argued with us saying that it's her job, and we have repeatedly disrespected the fact that she has a degree in this. We told her that she doesn't know what it's like to be a parent and how being a teacher is completely different. My sister ended up marching to her room mid-argument, and I ended up consoling my wife, who started frustratedly crying. Unfortunately, we had to leave for the airport right away, so we went up to apologize to my sister for yelling, but my sister was silent and didn't reciprocate. That was now 6 months ago. My only contact with my sister is through my mom, since my sister won't answer texts. My mom's opinion is that nothing needs to be talked about because time will heal all wounds. My wife and I think that would fester into resentment, which is upsetting to us because we are planning to have more kids soon and don't want this issue arising with them again. Thanks to everyone for all the comments and discourse. Unfortunately, My family doesn't seem to be on my side with this situation by thinking that her job title is a valid excuse for her actions. We were starting to think we were crazy for feeling so strongly about this. The validation from this post has helped us in more ways that you can imagine.